Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Ifoma. So today we're going to be making this beautiful shirt with a notch collar. So if this looks like what you're interested in, definitely watch till the end. Again, I'm going to first of all cut out the bodies for our front. Okay, so I'm going to be starting our measurement from this line here. This line is like our guide, which is the shoulder line. Okay, so I'm going to first of all take the length for the shirt, and I'm going to be using 30 inches for the length of the shirt here. All right, I'm going to take that same 30 inches here so I can get a straight line. All right, so this is what we have, 30 inches. So I'm going to draw a line across, connecting the 30 inches mark. All right, now the first thing I'm going to do is to fold the center. Okay, so I'm going to be leaving 4 inches on this center here. Okay, 4 inches. That 4 inches is what we are going to be folding inside. We are going to be folding that 4 inches inside the shirt. Okay, remember that this is the front we are working on now. Okay, so we are going to be folding in these 4 inches. All right, so let me go ahead and connect. So this 40 inches now, we are going to be folding it in. Okay, so let me go ahead, cut this part out and fold in the 40 inches mark. So make sure you are folding in on the 40 inches line like you see me doing. Okay, so now I've folded in my 40 inches line. So from that 40 inches as well, I'm going to be going in by 1 inch. Okay, we are still going to be going in by 1 inch from this point here. That 1 inch is going to add as our button overlap. Okay, that 1 inch will be our is going to act as our button overlap. So from that 1 inch mark here, I'm going to be taking my chest measurement divided by 4. All right, I'm going to be taking my chest measurement divided by 4 from that 1 inch mark. All right, or you can take it from this edge here. Remember that we have folded this away, so this particular place now will be our center front. So you can also take your measurement from that center front. After taking your measurement, you can add that 1 inch back, anyhow that it works better for you. So my chest measurement is 40. I'm going to divide it by 4, which is going to give us 10. All right, so I'm going to add 1 inch to that 10, which is going to give us 11, and I'm going to add another extra 1 inch for our stitching allowance, which will be 12. So I'm going to be taking 12 here. All right, I hope you understand. Our chest measurement is 10 plus 1 inch for the button overlap, which is 11, plus another 1 inch for the stitching allowance, which will make it 12. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead now and connect this 12. All right, hope you understand this. So if your hip measurement, if the hip measurement is the largest part, you can go ahead and use your hip measurement, because you know this shirt is going to get all the way down to the hip. Okay, you can divide your hip measurement by 4 and then add everything we added here, because we're going to be cutting this part out. We are going to be using it, placing it together with the back and cut together. So that's why we want to prepare the front by all these things we have here. First of all, we came in by 4 inches and fold it away. That 4 inches is going to be, we are going to be folding that 4 inches in. Okay, so then from that 4 inches mark, which is now going to be our center front, we measured our chest measurement divided by 4. Okay, the fullest part of a measurement divided by 4, then we add 1 inch for the button overlap and also another 1 inch for the stitching allowance. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out the back, the front like this. I'm going to go ahead, place this aside and prepare the back as well. Right, so I'm going to use this fresh piece of pattern paper for the back, and what I'm going to do is take the full length of our shirt, which is 30 inches, and I'm going to be adding extra 4 inches to this full length, making it 34 inches. Okay, take note, for the back we added extra 4 inches to the length of the shirt, making it 34 inches. Okay, so I'm going to join this 34 inches mark so that we can cut it off. All right, so this is what we have. So now I'm going to take our shirt measurement, which is 40 divided by 4. Okay, so for the back we are only going to be adding the 1 inch for our stitching allowance. So what I'm going to do is 40 divided by 4 plus 1 inch. Okay, that is for the back. All right, I'm going to take that exact same measurement so I can get a straight line and join it. Okay, we are also going to be cutting this out so that we can place it together with the front and cut. Okay, we are going to be cutting the front and the back at the same time. Okay, so I'm just joining our back measurement. All right, so let me go ahead and cut it out. So I'm going to go ahead now and place this front on top of the back. Now you have to pay very close attention to what I'm about to do. Okay, remember we said we are going to be taking 1 inch. All right, after folding away 4 inches, or you can even use 3 inches for this part, but I love using 4 inches, so it's going to like line the center front very well. You're going to understand when we are sewing this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, remember we said we are going to be taking away 1 inch as well in the center front for the button overlap. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is, when I place this front on the back, I'm going to make sure that this front is longer than the back with that 1 inch. All right, can you see? We start 1 inch, so let me pin this down so we can understand better. So now remember we added extra 1 inch to this front. All right, so when I'm placing these two together, I made sure that this back started from that 1 inch. All right, because we said this 1 inch is going to be for the button overlap. Okay, so when we have gotten that, the next thing I'm going to go ahead to do now is to get our shoulder slant. All right, so I'm going to be slanting our shoulder by 3 inches. Okay, this is 3 inches. We are going to be slanting our shoulder by 3 inches. All right, so when I have marked this, I'm going to go ahead and connect it to the tip of the neck. Now whatever you're working with, make sure you're working with the back. Okay, connect it to the tip of the neck like so. Okay, that 3 inches we came down by, we connected it to the tip of the neck. Then I'm going to cut out. Now I'm cutting both the front and the back. Okay, so this is what we have. All right, so I'm going to lose this and then make it equal on the down part. All right, so that the upper part so that the back is going to be longer than the front on the upper part alone. Okay, now we have made the down part equal. I'm going to go ahead and pin it together, making sure that that 1 inch is still there. All right, can you see it? That 1 inch is still there. Okay, so now we are going to start working on the neck, but before then I'm going to fold this shoulder to lap on top of each other using 0.5 inches. Can you see? I use 0.5 inches to lap the two shoulder on top of each other like this. All right, I folded the back shoulder inward like this and wrapped it on top of the front shoulder. Can you see? So this is what we have. All right, making sure that that 1 inch is still there. Please take note. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my measurement from the here here is the tip of the neck for the back, which is what we are working with. Okay, so I'm going to take the measurement from here, measure our shoulder divided by 2. Okay, our shoulder divided by 2 plus extra half of an inch. Okay, our shoulder divided by 2 plus extra half inch. All right, so which is going to be 9.5. Okay, so I'm going to take that same 9.5 somewhere here. All right, just so we get a straight line here. Okay, so when we have gotten that, what I like doing to get my armhole is I like dividing my shoulder measurement by 2, okay, and get my armhole. So it's either I divide my shoulder measurement by 2 and add 0.5 to it, or I just use it the way it is. So when I divided my shoulder, what I'm going to have is 9 inch. So I'm going to be using that 9 inch the way it is. Okay, so what I always do, if I want it to be more fitted, do you get, if I want it to be more fitted, I can minus 0.5 from the measurement. If I want it to be very loose, I can add 0.5 inches. But if I want it to be just all right, I can go ahead to use the measurement, exactly what I get after dividing my shoulder measurement by 2. Okay, I hope you understand this. All right, so after doing that, I'm going to go ahead to connect like this. Okay, so when I've connected like this, the next thing I'm going to do now is to divide what I have from here to here. I'm going to divide it by 2. Okay, I'm going to divide it by 2, and then on that part I'm going to go in by 0.75. okay, 0.75. Then I'm going to connect with my curve. Okay, so this is what we have. This is what our armhole is going to look like. Okay, so now coming to the neck, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to be using 4 inches for the neck depth. Note where we are taking the measurement from the tip of the shoulder of the back, just like we have always been doing. Note that all the measurements we are going to be taking from now is going to be from the tip of the shoulder. Okay, now I use 4 inches, and for the width I'm going to be using 2.5 inches. Okay, so this is not always right. It can be 3 inches depending on how wide the neck you are working with is. Okay, so if you are working with a bigger person, you can use 2/75 and 4/2. Okay, you can use 2.75 and 4.25. Okay, so but just know that it is better that after joining everything, after joining the front and the back, you measure the round neck and find out that the round neck is short, like is smaller than your normal neck. You can easily trim away from the neck than to find out that the round neck is actually bigger than the normal neck. So to be on the safer side, just use smaller measurements so that when you join the shoulder and is not corresponding, that means the neck you got after joining the shoulder is smaller than the actual neck, you can as well trim down. Okay, so when we have gotten this, what we have here is 2.5. I'm going to measure that 2.5 from the back, the measurement from the center back. Note that whatever we are doing from the center back. Okay, so from the center back, I'm taking this measurement from the center back, which is 2.5. Okay, so when we have gotten that, I'm going to go ahead and join. I'm just going to connect these two like this. Okay, like this. Okay, have you seen what we have? So now I'm going to minus that 1 inch from here. All right, I'm going to minus that 1 inch just so we know where we are working with. So let me just rule a straight line across that 1 inch so we don't get confused. Okay, note we are minusing this 1 inch. This 1 inch is not part of the measurement we are taking. Okay, so now on this angle I'm going to go out by 0.75 so that I can connect my round neck. Now this is what we have. Okay, this is what we have. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut out. Okay, I want you to watch closely to see the way I'm going to be cutting this out. For the armhole, I'm going to be cutting from the front alone. Okay, look closely to see the way I'm going to be cutting. Now I'm cutting only the front. Okay, now for the back, because the back and the front is not the same thing. Have you seen the way I cut the back and join it to the front? Okay, see the way the back is. The back is wider than the front a little. Okay, so for the neck, it's folded like this. So I started cutting like this. Okay, have you seen? Okay, now I join the front. Okay, have you seen the way I cut it? Okay, now I'm going to cut like this from the 1 inch. All right, this is what we have. So I'm going to open this up and trim out a little. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, for the neck, this is what we have for the neck area. Okay, so now coming to the waist, I'm going to divide my waist measurement. First of all, take from your shoulder, tip of your shoulder here, to the waist. Okay, wherever the waist is, then on that line, divide your waist measurement by 4. Okay, whatever you have, that is what you are going to be placing here. All right, so that you can go ahead and connect. Okay, so this is what we have. Remember to still add back your 1 inch. Okay, so now I'm going to be coming up by 7 inches. We are going to be having a slit. All right, and that slit is going to start from this 7 inches mark we came up by. All right, so now I'm going to cut out the front and the back together. After cutting, this is what we have. Okay, so we are going to cut the facing for the back. All right, note that when we are cutting the front, we are going to see it on the sewing part that the front already has its facing. So now we are going to be cutting the facing for the back. The back is supposed to be like this, in case if you are confused. So you are going to open it up like this. Now there is no measurement of how deep you want your facing to be, but normally it's not advisable for it to cross the armhole. It can get here, it can even be very short, but it's not advisable to reach the armhole depth. Okay, so this is what I'm going to be using. Now when I'm cutting on my actual fabric, I'm going to add more 1 inch for the folding in. Okay, so you're going to place it like this and trace out the upper side. Now I'm going to label this the facing. Let me label this the facing. Okay, all right, so let me place this aside. So to cut the sleeve, what we are going to do is to measure our armhole measurement. All right, just place the front and the back the way it was when we were cutting. Place it, make sure they are aligning, then you take your round armhole measurements. So when I measured what I have is 11 inches. I'm going to place it out away and we are going to start working on the sleeve. Okay, so when you've gotten that 11 inches, what you are going to do next is to minus 1.5 from that 11 inches. So if I minus 1.5 from 11 inches, I'm going to have 9.5. That is how you are going to be getting your fabric fold. Okay, but because I'm using this paper, I'm going to be marking that 9.5 inches on the paper like this. Okay, so this is my 9.5 inches. All right, we are pretending that this is our fabric fold. Take note. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to take my sleeve measurement. Okay, the sleeve I'm working with is 17 inches. I'm going to add 2 inches to it, making it 19 inches. That 2 inches is for the folding allowance. Okay, so I'm just going to draw a line across. All right, this one is the actual length. Okay, so now when we have gotten this, I'm going to take our round sleeve measurements. Okay, this sleeve is just going to be a straight sleeve. It's not going to be shaped, so which means that the measurement we have on our bicep is going to be the measurement we have on the down part of the sleeve. Okay, which is 14 inches. I'm going to be dividing 14 inches by 2, which is 7 inches, and I'm going to be adding 1 inch for the stitching allowance, which is 8 inches. Okay, so we are going to be taking this 8 inches up. All right, now from the tip of the sleeve, this is the sleeve tip, right, the sleeve cap, I'm going to be going in by 4 inches. All right, this differs on the style you're making. This is a shirt, so it's not supposed to be tight. All right, because it's not supposed to be tight, I'm going to be using 4 inches. But if it's something that you want to be tight, you can go down by 5 or 6 inches as the case may be. Okay, so here I'm going to be taking my bicep measurement as well, which is 7 plus 1, which is 8 inches. Okay, so now that we have gotten this, what I'm going to do now is to connect. All right, connect like so. So we can go ahead and connect down. Okay, so this is what we have. This is what our sleeve is going to look like. So let me go ahead now and cut out. Okay, so this is what our sleeve is going to look like. So I'm going to go ahead now and cut on our actual fabric. To start sewing, I went ahead to prepare everything I need to do, which is just to iron. So for the center, this is what I did. All right, I placed a cloth gum. I pressed a cloth gum on top, and then this is what we have. Okay, this is it for the both sides of the front. Then for the facing of the back, I folded it with 1 inch and I put a hemming gum to hold it down. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do now is to place the facing for the back, and to do that, this is the back, right? I placed it wrong side facing me, and then the wrong side of the front facing it. Can you see? The wrong side of the front and back facing each other, as you can see. Okay, so when I've done this, I'm going to place the facing, the right side of the facing facing the right side of the front. All right, look closely. The wrong side of the front and back facing each other like this. Can you see? And then the right side of the facing facing the right side of the front like this. So I'm going to go over to my sewing machine and I'm going to use 0.5 inches to hold the shoulder down for the both sides. All right, 0.5 inches for the both sides of the shoulder. Now, after joining, when you flip it to the other side, which is the back, is going to be looking like this. Okay, now one thing I like doing is whenever I'm cutting a facing, I like cutting it to counter the normal pattern of the shirt. As you can see, the pattern of the shirt is going straight, but the facing now is going this way. Okay, that way it's just looking unique, a kind of just looking different. Next thing I'm going to do is to sew. I'm going to match on this facing. Now this my fabric is a lot stretchy, so it's going to be really hard if you're working with the stretchy fabric, but you're still going to sew it anyway. So just sew with very tiny something on the shoulder. If you have a shirt at home, just go check it out. It has a tiny sewing on the shoulder. Then we go down and we sew. Now this back facing, however you want to attach it, is depends on what you want. Okay, you can sew it and let it just be opening a little bit, or you can sew it at the tip. All right, so just do what works for you. So I'm going to go ahead now and sew like this till I get to the center. Okay, even on the neck, I'm also going to be sewing the neck. All right, so I'll go over to my sewing machine now and do that. This is what I've done with it. All right, can you see how neat this is? Even though this gave me a lot of headache, but I still did fine by it. Okay, so this is what we have. Now what we are going to go ahead to do now is to align the armhole. All right, regardless of where the joining is, that joining is not the shoulder. You are going to see the shoulder by itself when you align the armhole like this. Have you seen? So here now is the shoulder. You are going to notch, because that is where you are going to be starting your sleeve. Okay, so do the exact same thing for this side. Properly align your armhole. Make sure the armhole is aligning here, not here, because here the back is supposed to be wider than the front anyways. So make sure you are aligning it here at the tip here, and then whatever comes out here is your shoulder. You're not the one that is going to be placing it. It's going to come out by itself. Okay, so once you align here, the shoulder is going to reveal itself. So just notch wherever the shoulder is. That place is your shoulder. Okay, have you seen what we've done with this? Now I'm going to go ahead and fix my sleeve. Note that whenever you're fixing your sleeve, you're going to be starting from the center, not the center of your sleeve. Start from the center, sew to the front, then sew to the back. Okay, always start from the center. All right, so I'm going to quickly go ahead and sew my sleeve. This is what we have. I fixed the sleeve and also went ahead to shape. Okay, so now we are going to work on the collar. All right, so remember that this is the 4 inches and this notch is the 1 inch notch. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is to turn the fold. What I'm going to do now is to fold the 4 inch in a reverse form. Okay, that is, fold it in a wrong side like this, and then I'm going to sew that 1 inch. Okay, I'm going to close up this 1 inch here, making sure it ends at the notch. Remember I notched it, right? So this is where the notch is. I'm going to sew till I get the notch, and then I'm going to turn it to the other side. Okay, we're going to leave this part like this. All right, don't do anything here, just sew with 0.5 inch only on the 1 inch measurement. Stop it at the notch there, and then we are going to turn it to the right side. We're going to do this exact same thing to the other side of the front. Okay, so see what we have now. So I'm just going to notch it open till I get to the end of that stitch. Then I'm going to cut out the excess here. Okay, now I'm going to turn. All right, so have you seen what we arrive at? Have you seen? So this is what we were trying to get. Okay, so now that we have done this to the both sides of the center front, I'm going to go ahead now and measure what we have. Okay, I'm going to measure the round neck to see what we have. Then that round neck is what we are going to use to get our collar. All right, so this is where you are going to take your time and carefully measure your round neck. Now if your fabric is stretchy like mine, make sure you don't stretch it. Just carefully take the measurement. All right, have you seen the way I'm doing it? Carefully making sure that I'm not stretching my fabric. Okay, so you're going to stop here as well. All right, so remember we started here, not here. All right, this is where our collar is going to start, and we ended here as well. All right, so whatever you have, this is what we are going to be using to cut out our collar. Now to cut the collar, I folded the light collar stay. This is a collar stay, but it's very light. Okay, I will advise you use a very light one as well if you want to make yours. Okay, or you can even use a gum stay. So just fold into two, a light collar stay, and then divide your round neck measurement by 2. Okay, so when you divide it by 2, mark out the measurement. All right, so I'm going to be using 3 inches as the length of my collar, so I'm marking out 3 inches, as you can see me doing. I'm marking out 3 inches. All right, and I'm going to connect the 3 inches mark with a straight ruler. Okay, all right, this is it. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to curve in the center on the down part by half an inch. Okay, by half an inch, and I'm going to connect it back to the side. All right, and on the center of the upper part, I'm going to use 0.25 to curve in a little bit. Okay, then connect it back to the top. All right, so this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead now and cut out. So this is what we have. All right, this is what we have. I'm going to go ahead now and cut on our actual fabric. Simply did is the collar that we cut out, I used the visible part to place on the wrong part of my fabric, and then I pressed it till it gum. Okay, it has a gum one side, so I pressed it till it gone, and then I cut it out, leaving 0.5 inches all around for the turning. So I also cut another piece of fabric, the same measurement, but this one I lined it with a glued gum. Okay, so now I also notched the midpoint when we were cutting. This is the midpoint, and that midpoint is the upper part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fold in the lower part like this. All right, I'm just folding in till I get the actual measurement, which is the collar. As you can see, just fold it in. This folding in is not compulsory, but it helps a lot, so that when you are eventually matching on top, you are going to be like, you are going to get a very neat work. Okay, so just fold it in like this, and I like using hemming gum to control it so it doesn't move. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, so we are going to go ahead now and turn. Okay, so just place it like this, the lining and the fabric right side, and the collar right side facing each other. And for the lining, make sure you still have enough excess allowance for the joining, like 0.5 inches on the down. Remember, we already folded in the 0.5 inches of this one on the main collar, so make sure you still have it left on the lining. Okay, so go ahead and join all the way to here. All right, I'm going to go ahead now and join. What we have now that we are through with joining. Okay, this is what we have. So I went ahead to trim the excess allowances, then I'm going to go ahead to turn and press, so we can start fixing on the shirt. I went ahead to top stitch. Okay, I went ahead to top stitch the collar, and then I'm going to go ahead and fix it. All right, so to fix, I found the midpoint of the neckline. This is the midpoint, I notched it, and I also find the midpoint of the collar. So I'm going to place it like this, making sure that the midpoints are aligning. Then I'm going to sew, starting from the midpoint. I'm going to sew till I get here. All right, I'm going to do the exact same thing for the other side. So after sewing, I'm just going to tuck it in, and if I'm sewing, I'm going to make sure that this part enters. Okay, then I'm going to, after sewing, I'm going to tuck it in like this and match on top. Okay. All right, so this is what we have. Okay, so if you don't understand the way I fix this collar, if it's too fast, kindly call my attention to it so I can do another video solely on how to fix this collar. Okay, so let me go ahead and fix. So guys, this is what we'll have after we are done. If I'm going to make this shirt again, what I'm going to do different is the facing for the front. I'm going to increase it and make it, instead of 4 inches, I'm going to be using 5 inches. And for the collar, I reduced the collar to 1.5 inches, and I found that is better than when it was 3 inches. So you can as well use 2 inches or 1.5 inches if you're making yours. So thank you very much for watching. If you're going to try this out, let us know in the comment section, and I'll see you again in the next one. Bye.